Joining me now in the studio is Heather Brooke, a journalist, writer and freedom of information activist based here in London. And Heather, you knew Aaron Swartz, didn't you? What kind of a person was he?
Yeah, I met him at some various open government conferences, and he was a amazing freedom of information activist, and not just as some people maybe in rhetoric, but he really lived it. He was very much a kind of putting it into practice, radical, wanted to give the public information, and if the government wasn't willing to do it, then he was kind of on a guerrilla crusade to do it himself.
Where did that crusade come from, do you think?
I don't know what inspired him, but I think he very much believed in the kind of American constitutional idea that, we were an informed electorate and this is our information, we should have it. And where he first sort of came into conflict with the official establishment was in America. Court documents are public in sort of theory, but in practice you had to either pay for them or go to these sort of specified archives to look them up. And what he did is that he went to one of these archives and he had created this sort of scraper that basically was able to download thousands of these documents, and he then took them and made them publicly available. And for that he was investigated by the FBI.
Yeah.
He was unclear. The sort of New York Times really took him up as a sort of cause célèbre.
Well, not just the New York Times. I just look at a tweet from perhaps the best known freedom of information organisation at this point, WikiLeaks. The brilliant Aaron Swartz, longtime WikiLeaks friend, is dead after 2 years of harassment by US prosecutors. That's what they say.
Well, I'm really sad the way that he was. I mean, it was a persecution rather than a prosecution, because there's an element where what he did was not harming anybody. He was not physically harming anyone, and yet he had the kind of full impetus of the state coming after him. And I just think, well, what was that about? I mean, he was basically trying to make with the court documents, those are public documents that he was trying to make more publicly available. With the academic documents, those were mostly by academics who weren't paid for their work, and would have liked, I mean, I'm an academic, we like to have people know what we do, and we want knowledge expanded, and he was trying to do that, and for that he was basically treated as a criminal.
There's a terrible irony, of course, that JSTOR said just before he died that they would be releasing some of it free of charge. A victory for him in his final week?
Well, I think maybe what he was feeling is just that he had these great ideals about what he thought were principled stands about democracy and about people's right to know and what is freedom. And possibly he just found that the sort of intransigence that he got from the establishment was just too much. And, it was such an obstacle for him. And nobody, I mean, at this point, people don't really know, except for his family, what exactly led him to commit suicide. But certainly having a state going after you, and he was facing life imprisonment for what he did, that certainly can't have helped.
Heather Brooke, thank you very much indeed.